Welcome back, guys. We are with Sizzles, the darling 20-year-old Dobson, and we are going to start with Sizzles' ears next, starting with the left ear. So the colors that I've chosen so far, anyways, is black, maple walnut brown, brown ochre, as well as warm gray 5. So we're going to start right by jumping in. Right in the corner here, we do have some brown. So we're actually going to start with the brown walnut here in the corner. And we're just going to go lightly and sort of map in where we're going to put each of the color sections. And we'll add black over top of this as we go. It's not the best lighting for you guys, is it? I'm trying to figure out how I don't block the light from you guys being able to see what it is I'm doing. Okay. Now you do want to watch the direction that the fur is going in, which I know I'm always saying, but it's said for a reason. Now there are tons of grays that go through this. So you know what I might do actually? Map out the solid colors, and then we're gonna do some we're gonna possibly do some X-Acto knife peeling back of the darker hairs to reveal the gray hairs throughout. Right now, we're just lightly covering the area that's going to be solid. And this is more black than brown in the photo, but it does have hints of a deep brown undertone. I might even bring in some Caput Mortem violet here. And then the ear kind of comes down right here. And this in with the walnut brown. It's going in the direction that the fur is going in. There's a bit of gray here as well. The darker hair along the edge. And this is more solid. So we're just doing a little bit more than a light pressure, not super hard though. And then we're going to bring this up. short little movements with light to medium pressure in the direction of the fur. Just keep looking at the reference photo. If you're new, you can find the reference photo and all of the information you need to know in the description box to work on Sizzles with us. And it will take you to my website where all of the material is downloadable there. All of your reference stuff, where you'll learn about the paper, the pencil colors. So now I'm going to come in with black just along here. I'm going to leave that one area for the moment. We're just doing light back and forth strokes. This, you don't have to press super hard with the black, at least not in the polychromos, but I'm slightly making my way through the brown, still in the direction of the fur line, still tiny little pencil strokes because it denotes, like I would say, the fur length. So it's just a good reminder, even for myself. Put the Kaput Mortem Violet in. I might put some in later, but right now I kind of like it. I like it with the brown. So I found this photo of Sizzles on Facebook. I am on a free reference photos group for animals, and then one that's just an overall reference group. And Sizzles' owner posted this photo. Oh, I was like, that is the coolest photo I've seen in a while. Just unique and different and lovable and cute. And I messaged them and asked them if they'd mind if I used the photo for this. And they were all for it and really excited to see what other people may come up with. They're so kind. And I was just so excited to be able to start. This is less than 24 hours after I talked to them. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do next is bring in the warm gray 5, but I might actually make it a cool gray color. I'm going to use the cool gray, is it 4? Yeah, cool gray 4, and I'm going to cover the entire ear very lightly. So it's going to get covered over by other colors, which is the point, but still making sure I go in the direction of the fur and still making sure I do tiny, tiny pencil strokes. Sorry if you can hear past my headphones. I don't have on my big honking noise canceling ones that I'm normally wearing, so I have the ones that I just keep connected to my computer on right now. And I usually just use it when I'm at the computer because sometimes when I'm on a video like this, you can hear what's in my ears and you don't need to hear that. Okay. So again, just lightly covering the area. What time is it? It's 5:02. His direction here, so we want to make sure we capture that too. But I am going to grab my eraser here in just a second. Okay, there we go. Just gonna get at this line. Sorry, I'm wiggling the table because I'm pressing pretty hard. So I just use a light gray. Actually, it's a Castle Arts pencil, just light gray that I use, or light, I think it's called light graphite. And I use it because it's actually water soluble. So I use it with painting because it'll take away my lines when it gets wet. But I'd start to use it on this because it doesn't leave too harsh of an indent when I use it. Okay, so we just want it on there lightly. Now we're going to start coming in again with the darker colors. Now, this is brown. We're just going in lightly with the black. Just sort of mapping in the color areas. Lightly bringing in the color. Still working with the black. See, I'm putting it on lightly first. Following that fur line. And then again here. And we bring in some brown, I think, where it gets a little bit darker. Now, so we're using the walnut brown. We're going to bring in some put Mortem Violet right here, I believe, once I get the brown in. And then we'll put in a little bit of black over top of that. Maybe even just more brown, because it is pretty brown in that area. Continuing to look at the reference photo, make sure we're going in the direction of the fur. I'm just going to bring in the black to the end there. I'm just going to block this in and get it a deep black. Violet, we're just going to bring in darkly here and then lightly closer to the ear because it is a lot lighter. So just bringing in the fur gently. And we're going to bring it up this way. Okay, and then we're coming back in with the walnut brown right over top of the Kaput Mortem violet. And it's pretty dark at first, and then, like I said, it lightens off. Blend that lightly. We want it to blend into the black. We don't want it so choppy and blocked off. So we're just bringing in the colors first. Then we'll blend them in together. And then we'll bring in the little details of the little hairs that are showing. I'm going to try two different ideas to see which one I like the most. The X-Acto knife and also have I have another one, indenting tool. Okay. So then we're going to bring in, is it brown ochre? Doesn't take a lot of pressure because it blends in beautifully on its own. And we're going to bring some into the gray here. I'm going to be a little careful because yellow and black can create almost a green tinge to it. So we're just doing it lightly. Okay. Then we're going to go back in with the walnut brown. I'm just going to sharpen this real quick. Just got to unplug you guys for a moment. Which battery's pretty, well, battery's about halfway. I'll plug it back in just a moment. Do not have enough plugins for everything, it seems like. Okay, 1 second. This is going to be loud, so I'm just going to mute you guys while I sharpen this. Okay, there we go. It's not super loud, but loud enough that you don't need to hear it too, so. Okay. So we're coming back in with the walnut brown. And we're going to start blending the colors lightly in together. So I'm just sort of doing a light once over with the walnut brown over every area. Lightly. Small strokes as you go in the direction of the fur, which does change. And I know I keep harping it, but it makes a difference. The little tiny ones denotes the short fur. I bring a little bit more into the lighter area here. So what I'm going to do I'm going to take this indenting tool first and just see how it works. I'm just lightly scoring the page. I'm going to get my X-Acto knife. And you can use any X-Acto knife. Mine is just one I got with a little drawing kit, so it's not fancy quality. So what you're going to do is just take the very edge and you're just going to we're going to lightly wisp. And you don't want to score and dig into the paper. We're just going lightly and scoring over the paper. We're just doing it lightly so that way we can get some of the gray that we put underneath to pop out under the colors we laid down. So obviously we want those colors that we laid down on top, but we want that gray come through. So we're not cutting. I'm using the X-Acto knife on the end. This really is a cheap one. But I'm using the end of it. Here, I'm not going like this. I'm going like this. Okay? That's what I'm doing. And if I need to do anything, I just go lightly like that. But I'm using the end of it. Some people may do it differently, and that's totally cool too. But this is how I do it because I find trying to do it the way I've seen in other videos, which looks absolutely gorgeous, I tend to end up leaving marks in the paper. So the end is just fine for me. Sometimes I'll even use the back end here where it's not sharp, but it's still a point. See how that comes through really beautifully? Now, of course, you've got to be watching, and I'm going to harp on it, the direction of the fur. So as we're blabbering on here, got to pay attention to what we're doing at the same time. Okay. Let's see how the side looks. Let's try this side. Doesn't really seem to do much. That looks pretty good. And I'm just going to come in, just get some of the lines I have there around it with the eraser pencil. Again, this is a Faber-Castell eraser pencil with a little brush in the end. They're cheap. I got a little pack of them on Amazon. And here's a longer one. It's called Perfection VO58 or something. They look like this. And they're great little pencils. Just they're great for getting those lines as you're working. So in here, we do have this here. So we're just going to lighten this back up where we had the side of the face. And then right there, we do have some whiskers that come out. Then we do have to come up a little bit more here. I'm going to grab the black. This sort of goes like this. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, except for I'm going to come in right off the hop with the gray this time. So we're just coming in with the cold gray 4 again, like we did on the other side. And we're just going to cover the entire ear so that we have this beautiful gray, little coolness to it, so that when we do this, and we'll close this for now because we don't need it, come back in with the X-Acto knife, then we can allow that gray to come through the colors that we lay on top of it really nicely. Light line right there. Remember, short pencil strokes. If you find you're putting too much pressure down, move your hand further back and pencil until you get comfortable with it. And watch the direction of the fur. Reference photo first, lines second. with the black here. So I'm just going to map in first where we want each of the colors to go. I'm just looking to see. Just going to bring it in that brown ochre. Is it brown or burnt? Brown ochre. And I'm just outlining where this little flap folds in Sizzle's ear. And then it kind of comes up like a lip almost. And then goes down that way. Okay, so we kind of have an idea of where we're trying to avoid at first. So there is a bit of brown on the edge. Right here. Bring that in over the brown ochre. Okay. And then again in here. Bring in a little bit more right there. Then I'm going to bring put Mortem Violet right in this area in a moment. I'm just sort of filling in the other areas first. Going to bring the black around here. Strokes again with the pencil, light pressure over top of that cold gray with the black. And we're just blocking in the colors like we did on the other ear. And then we'll go in again when we're complete and have it in nice, a little bit more dark, like more blended in, then we'll blend in completely with the walnut brown. But for now, we're still at the black. And then again, we'll bring the X-Acto knife in and bring those hairs out. So even though we see tons of gray in the picture, we will see that again, even though it looks like we're covering it up at the moment. We'll bring it back out with the X-Acto knife once we have the other colors deep, nice and rich. I like Sizzle's ears because compared to some dogs, even though there is curves and moves in the ear, Sizzle's ears are actually a lot less complicated in terms of the fur direction than I've seen a lot of other dogs, especially considering Sizzle's ears are fanned out with them running. Or I guess not running, but you know what I mean, with their head tilted back. You would, it's not complicated. It's just, you know, take your time. And it's more than doable. I've had some that feel like they've taken forever, just one ear, and been very tedious, like consistently, you know, making me worry that I'm going in the wrong fur direction. And Sizzles is not bad at all, actually. Still got to pay attention to what you're doing, but not anywhere as complicated as other ears. Here, we're gonna bring in some brown ochre there. And then I think we're gonna leave it there for that. Bring in the Kaput Mortem Violet. Okay, I plopped it back in here. I can't see, I haven't done that if I'm gonna use it again. All right, so we're gonna start and kind of bring the kaput out. We are going to, maybe I'll do the brown ochre right now. You need a little line here of brown ochre. And again, be careful about going to that black too much, because if you've ever had bleached blonde hair or blonde hair and tried to put, that's dyed, and tried to put brown hair dye over top of it, you'll know exactly what I mean. It makes your hair green. I learned that lesson in high school about almost 30 years ago when I did it. I had dyed my hair black when I was 14 on Halloween in the girls' bathroom at high school with some girlfriends. We dyed my hair black. And then I bleached my hair the next year, my poor parents. And then I dyed my hair back to brown. And when I did, I had brown hair, but in the school lighting, it was like a green tinge through the whole thing. It was not cute. I thought it was at the time, but, you know, in hindsight, you wonder how your parents let you leave the house. Okay. And this is Kaput Mortem Violet. It's going in over that cold gray. You don't need a lot of hard pressure. You're just letting it go lightly. And like I said, if you have a hard time with the pressure that you're laying down, move your hand further back on the pencil and it causes you to go lighter. I find for me personally, and it does work. Putting your hand further back, it made all the difference. But I find that I get a better purposeful marks in the sense of like when I want to make sure I'm going in a certain direction. That's where I like bringing my hands a little further down. I don't recommend that for everybody. And I don't mean that as a smart ass remark. I just mean you'll know that's something that, you feel like you can still lay it down lightly when you do that or not. And I'll admit, I still lay my pencils down with a little bit more pressure than some. Just like I move a little bit quicker than most too. I notice a lot will take their time a lot more than I do, which is more than fair. It's just, and that's something I've always wanted to, like, that I continuously work on. Now just be careful going in that yellow there. Yeah, I mean, even I know that, we all have areas we can work on. And mine is my pressure and my speed. Because when I forced myself to slow down even more, it's made all the difference. Patience really does pay off. So, funny thing is I probably go a quarter of the speed I did in the beginning. So I've really slowed down, and I still go way faster than most people. And that's not always a good thing. So be honest with yourself. Give yourself credit where it's due, but also not be afraid to know what areas you need to work on too, and not to be so hard on yourself about it. You're going to have things, all areas of your life that can improve. That's par for the course. And that's the cool part about things like this. You can think that, you're great at something or good at it, whatever you want, but you can always improve. You can always learn more tips and tricks from each other. There's no one way is the only way. There is some cool little sort of things that work, like say not putting the black into the yellow colors or vice versa. Because, color blending is color blending, and that's just the way it is. But certain techniques are going to work better than others, and certain ones are going to work for you that don't work great for other people, but it doesn't mean their way or your way is wrong. It's just what works best for them and their preference. So it's kind of cool. It's like you get different ways of trying to try different things, and I love trying different techniques. And then you can see what you like best. And sometimes it depends too. Like it depends on the pencil and what it's made out of, like a watercolor, a wax. Or if, if you're using pastel mat, vellum paper, like I'm using right now, vellum Bristol or Bristol vellum. It all makes a difference with how you work with that paper. And I didn't think that would be true at first, or at least I knew it would be true, but I didn't know just how much it would be true until I started using more paper and becoming more serious about it. And it really does make things a little bit different. So I'm going to move this Kaput Mortem Violet. I keep wanting to call it Velvet the last couple of times I've been doing videos. But, I just moved it out of the way because knowing my luck, I grab it and You're going all over the place with it. Okay, so we're still just doing a little bit light to medium pressure, more light. And then moving the pencil around to get the sharpest end of the pencil. Again, small pencil strokes in the direction of the fur. And we're just filling in over the black with the walnut brown. And then we'll go over the whole kabang, kit and caboodle. And then we'll bring in the X-Acto knife again. The reason I go over the entire thing is so it's not so boxy, it's more blended. And that's important to making it look realistic, because when you're looking at it, it just blends so naturally, and then you go to draw it and can feel really boxed in, the colors are blocked in, but you want them to flow gently into each other. Now we're coming down over the kaput mortem violet. going over the Caput Mortem Violet with the Walnut Brown. Bringing some more Walnut Brown through where we put the black in. Sort of blending in the colors together. Okay, so now we're going to come in again with the X-Acto knife. Again, we're using the underside of the X-Acto knife. If you feel confident doing the side with the blade, that's totally cool. But I kind of like being able to do it with the flat end here, right on the bottom. I'm not saying you should be poking your fingers on the end like I just did, but I'm just running it along in the direction of the hairline. I'm making up my own words as I go along, apparently. I'm just going lightly through the fur. There's quite a bit of gray that shows through in this one, so I'm just doing it a little bit. I'm doing a little bit more than the other side because I want it to stand out. But I am making sure to go in the direction of the fur. Make sure that you're kind of leaving alone those areas that are nice and rich and black or dark, is where you don't actually see the fur. Just ignore that area, like right in here and right here. Just leave that alone. Don't touch it. So it looks like I'm going the opposite direction, and in essence I am, but it's because I'm bringing in a little ridge that's right there. And what I'd like to do before we go from this video is just to bring, I'd like to get the Payne's Gray in here as well. Where are you? The Payne's Gray and the Coal Gray 4. And we're just lightly starting with the Coal Gray 4 and bringing in that color of the gray, which is darker, but we'll build that up in just a second. We're just going to map in these grays on the side of the face, or the side, yeah, side of the face, right before it turns down into the more fluffier areas. Now, what did I do? Is that it there? Oh, that is it there. There's sun beating in as the sun is coming over on this side of the house to set, which is why we have the weird shadow, and I'm not seeing the colors correctly. So we're just doing the little dark gray there, and then we have light gray again right here. I'm just going to go around that dark area that we just brought in, and then it comes down here. And then it comes in right here. Okay. Okay, and we're going to bring that Payne's Gray in again. Back to that little area, and then we're going to come in here and do the same thing. And then here, we're actually going to grab black for this little area. And I'm just going to bring this into the ear. Okay. So we have now completed Dear Sizzles' face outside of under the chin and the ears. And we will be back to start working towards the next area. We're going to start moving down this way to the front of the body, and then we'll get going on Sizzle's lovely sweater as well eventually. All right, guys, take care.